Kapila, I will request you to kindly proceed with the program.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So a very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Kapila Shekhawat, and on behalf of Postgraduate School IRI, Genetics Club, faculty and students, I welcome each one of you on this very auspicious occasion. I would wish to begin by extending the warmest congratulations of the Teachers' Day to all of you, for some as the teachers and for others as the students. 5th September, ladies and gentlemen, since 1962, we celebrate as Teachers' Day on the birthday of India's former president, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, one of the most respected teachers in many reputed universities who really loved and adored children. It's well said, if there are no teachers, all other professions would not exist. It's a day when you appreciate teachers for having a tremendous impact on your life. They help you, they motivate you, and they guide you to become the best version of yourself. So it's a day to pay respect, express gratitude, and also to strengthen the bond of teacher and student. On this very fine afternoon, I welcome all the dignitaries who have joined the program. To begin with, we will have the auspicious Saraswati Vandana to take the blessings from the goddess of knowledge. And that would be followed by the floral tribute to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan ji as a mark of honor. Let us start with the Vandana first.
जय
Thank you all for your patient listening. I now request Dr. S.S. Sindhu sir, Honorable Dean and Joint Director Education, IRI, for the welcome address and also to kindly highlight the importance of the day. So please.
First of all, I also apologize as a dean on behalf of the PG School of IRI for the delay in the program of the Teachers' Day celebration due to some administrative reason, as Honorable Director has already mentioned. Today we have our most respected speaker, Professor R.B. Singh, as Dr. A.K. Singh has rightly mentioned, the Guru of the Gurus. Dr. Singh, the former director of IRI and the chairman of ASRB, and Professor Singh, the chancellor of the CAU Imphal. Sir, we welcome you on behalf of the PG school and in behalf of the IRI to speak on the topic Gurus. And Dr. Himanshu Pathak, Secretary DARE and Director General ICR. Sir, we welcome you on this very auspicious occasion. Dr. Himanshu Pathak will be the chairman of this today's function of the Teachers' Day celebration. Respected Dr. A.K. Singh, Director and the Vice Chancellor of IRI, Joint Director of Research, Joint Director of Extension and the Administration of IRI, Dr. Vinod, Professor, Genetic Division Club, and all my respected DDGs and ADGs, especially Dr. D.K. Yadav, our own colleague, and the others. Directors and the Joint Director of the Sister Institutes and the outreach programs, the former directors, particularly we have our former deans available on this Zoom platform, Professor H.S. Gold and Professor Anupam Verma, and the invited guest, Dr. Sadamate and others, the project directors, head of the divisions, professors, scientists, and the PG students, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all on this very auspicious occasion of the Teachers' Day celebrations being organized jointly by the PG School and the Genetic Club in a virtual mode. Due to the paucity of the time, I will not speak much, but it's my moral duty to mention here that Teachers' Day is being celebrated on 5th of September each year since 1962. On the birthday of Honorable former President of India, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, who was an outstanding educationist, and his education at the time, he got his education at the time when the education system did not get any importance. So he was a very renowned scholar, recipient of Bharat Ratna, first Vice President and the second President of India. He firmly believed that the education has the paramount importance for the growth and the development of the country. Dr. Radhakrishnan was the firm opinion that a good education system, that there is a need of the dedicated teachers and the committed teachers. So he himself was an inspiring educationist, prolific writer, philosopher, and above all, he was a great teacher. Therefore, his birthday on 5th of September is marked as a Teachers' Day. A great teacher is like a candle who shows the light, who shows the right path to the student in their life with an open mind, selflessly. So on the occasion, we pay tribute to this great teacher and honor the entire teaching fraternity. There is no barrier to acquire the education, even not necessarily to sit in a formal classroom. Nowadays, it is available even through the digital platform. Now we are expecting a significant reform in our higher education system under the new education policy, which is framed with the multidisciplinary approach, skill-based education, with the flexibility of multiple exit and multiple entry at any point of time. Let's reiterate our pledge on this very important occasion to raise the standard of the education system under the new education policy to the level that ensure the safety, security, and equitable quality education to each citizen. So with these words, I welcome each one of you on the occasion of the Teachers' Day celebration. I salute to my all teachers. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I now request and invite Dr. A.K. Singh sir, Honorable Director, IRI, to kindly introduce Honorable Chairman and today's chief guest to this August gathering. So please.
Thank you, Kapila. And as we all know that both the speaker and chairperson, they are pretty much our own and our guiding force. So I would not really spend much time on introduction. Honorable Professor R.B. Singh, the speaker for today's Teachers' Day lecture, and chairperson of the program, Professor Himanshu Pathak, Director General ICR and Secretary there. I find one commonality in these three personalities today, including Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, in whose memory the Teachers' Day is celebrated, that he was the Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University, that Professor R.B. Singh was Dean and Professor in Banaras Hindu University, and that Professor Himanshu Pathak was a student in Banaras Hindu University. So what a pleasant coincidence that we are going to celebrate the Teachers' Day with such luminaries today. You all know Professor R.B. Singh as former director of IRI, as chairman ASRB, and his contribution to national international agriculture. And for that, he has been bestowed by the Government of India with one of the highest civilian honor, Padma Bhushan. And likewise, Professor Pathak, his contribution to understanding soil-plant interface and climate change is of monumental significance nationally and globally. And I also mentioned at some other occasion that because of his work, the IPCC revised its estimate of 37.5 million tons of methane emission from rice paddy field to 3.5 million tons. So what a phenomenal contribution. Otherwise, Indian rice would have always been declared as a culprit for methane emission. So with this very brief introduction and citing the Guru Gita, which is one of the sections of Skanda Puran, wherein there is collection of verses in prayer of gurus, and this is written by Maharishi Vedvyas, and one of the verses says that Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptaen Characharam Tat Padam Darsitam Ena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. The one who is unbroken, permeated in the whole universe, waving in the constant, the elemental form of that Lord who manifests within me, gives me a vision, I vow to that Guru. भगवान जिसका रूप संपूर्ण है, जो हर जगह अविभाज्य है, गतिमान और अचल दोनों रूपों में व्याप्त है, गुरु जिसने ऐसे भगवान के चरण देखे हैं, अर्थात जिन्होंने परम के साथ एकता का अनुभव किया है, ऐसे गुरु को प्रणाम है, ऐसे गुरु को प्रणाम है। इसी आह्वान के साथ मैं प्रोफेसर R.B. सिंह, जो आज के मुख्य वक्ता हैं, उनसे अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे टीचर्स डे लेक्चर दें। प्रोफेसर R.B. सिंह।
Honorable Mr. Chairman, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
sir, you are.
Okay, good. Honorable Mr. Chairman, Dr. Himanshu Pathak, the most respected, honored Professor A.K. Singh, Director of the Institute, very distinguished colleagues who are present here, Vasul Sahab and other very senior colleagues, former deans, Gaur Sahab and other colleagues. I must say, it's wonderful to see each one of you. The distinguished teachers of IARI and students. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all wish you a very happy Teachers' Day. And I wish you the best of the combinations that your teacher possesses, which Ashok just mentioned in his dialogues, and that is really absolutely wonderful. As you all know, friends, if we had to judge the height of a nation, not in meters and centimeters, but height in terms of intellect, height in terms of cultural heritage, height in terms of the possession of knowledge and so on, science, so on. The height of a nation can be judged only by the height of a teacher. Again, here I am not measuring the teacher in terms of centimeters and meters. I am measuring the teacher in terms of possession of all those qualities which makes a nation tall. So therefore, the tallness of a nation is very much linked with the tallness of a teacher. So taller the teachers, taller is the nation. And therefore, I urge each one of you, my teacher friends, to be as tall as possible in possessing knowledge, which is the light, which is the possession, which is the most invaluable possession. And if you possess it, since your job is to share it, I'm sure those who will be sharing and sitting in your classes would be equally intelligent and brilliant and will be possessing the treasure of the world. I will say, therefore, this is why if someone asks someone, whom should I respect the most? As you all know, Guru Gobind dou khade, काके लागू पांव, बलिहारी गुरु आपकी, गुरु आप ही दिए बताए. भगवान ने गुरु और ईश्वर में किसके पांव लागू, तो भगवान ने बता दिया कि गुरु के पहले पैर लागू, बाद में मेरे. तो टीचर्स, माय डियर टीचर्स, आपकी महत्ता कितनी ज्यादा है आप इसको सोच सकते हैं. उसी बड़प्पन, उसी ऊंचाई, उसी हाइट, with that kind of tallness which was possessed by Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan ji, one of the greatest philosophers, one of the greatest educationists, reformists of the world, and of India, of course, the supreme person who was first the vice president and then the second president of India. So you can imagine a person of his tallness who was a great philosopher, one of the greatest teachers that India has ever produced. And this is why in his name, in his memory, in his remembrance, we celebrate the 5th of September as the Teacher's Day, to celebrate that tall personality. Do you all know that Radhakrishnan ji was the first person who wrote a comprehensive, after the independence, soon after 1947, he was assigned the job by the Prime Minister then, and Jawaharlal Nehru ji requested him to prepare a report on education, the way education in India should proceed. And his report is still the most invaluable report that India possesses. Also, this is most important for us to note that in his report, he made a special mention of education for rural development, rural education. And what is rural education? And that is, of course, agricultural education is the rural education. So in that total comprehensive sense, Radhakrishnan ji was the first and the foremost highest person of the nation to have highlighted the importance of agricultural education in development. And it was him who said that if we have to really progress, reach the height of a nation that one deserves, then you must be able to go through the rural lanes. You must be able to go through the fields of the farmers. Your path to height, your path to progress and prosperity is through the fields of farmers. And therefore, if the farmers are happy, if those rural people are happy, the nation is happy. And this is why Jawaharlal Nehru ji, in his first lecture at the tryst of the night, midnight, when India became independent, said, anything else can wait, but not agriculture. And you can imagine how much is the influence of some of these better persons and the highest knowledge persons, possessing persons' recommendations to our country. I will also like to underline here the knowledge possession. Possessing knowledge is the greatest treasure that one can possess. Because if anything can show you the path ahead, it is nothing else but your knowledge that you possess. And this is why, as someone mentioned, knowledge is the candle. Candle is the light, light which breaks the darkness, and darkness once removed, it shows you the path ahead. So I think knowledge is the candle, and that possession is your greatest possession. And equally important is, this is the only thing for teachers that they have to remember, that more they share this with their disciples and students and so on, the more their knowledge increases. This is the only thing which by sharing increases. You share and grow. As a matter of fact, this is something that knowledge possessed, and a teacher who possesses the knowledge and shares it the most, that knowledge is something multiplying all the time. Therefore, the virtues and values of a teacher is not only, but is in terms of gaining knowledge, but equally important is that how best is that person, that teacher, to share the knowledge. How good is, how the best of the designs, the best of the way of communicating. Now, of course, you have the best of the methods of digital, all kinds of digital revolutions and so on. How best those who are with you or with you, not with you, the mode of communication, your job is, if you have to mentor, if you have to communicate, you have to reach out those who are unreached. And therefore, I think the knowledge possession is one thing, but its distribution is equally important, because the virtue, this is the only thing, by sharing it grows. Today's India, if today's India has to become Atmanirbhar, if today's India has to become New India, I think our teachers have to go into the process of coming to the new education. The new education policy of the government of India, NEP 2020, New Education Policy, NEP 2020, as you all know, has been translated into the new agricultural education policy by the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. A publication is there already. You should be able to look at it and see what it is. The IARI has already taken the lead in the process of absorbing as much as possible the new education policy. And one of the most important, significant part of that new education policy is the RAWE, is the engineering of developing the best of the youth and the younger generations, the knowledge sharing, the industry people coming close to you. So the responsibility of education has increased today, and one has to broaden the horizon in terms of being a teacher, so that the new education policy, particularly you include the practicals, you include the real walking, by not only talking, but walking the talk. Not only a teacher talks, but teacher walks the talk. And I think this is what it is that we should be able to bring into our new education and policy, and our new teachers must emphasize the ways by which the practical knowledge. And this is where our teachers, basically who are in IRI and SAUs and so on, people like Dr. Himanshu Pathak, outstanding teacher and communicator. I think both, that is what is required, that we should be able to communicate, as well as we should be able to not only have the social responsibility of the science, not only we have to humanize the science, we have to make the science oriented towards human being. As our students are trained, we have to bring that culture of thinking, of being a human being. How do you absorb science, and which you can share with other colleagues. So therefore, I think the new policy which has come up, the new institutions which IERI is building, and we will be looking forward to these teachers to build this new IERI. Because if new education policy of India has to be operational in India, nowhere else from other than IERI is the new education policy that has to come into practice. The beginning has already been made, and the possibilities of connecting with the different regions and so on and so forth, and also how the responsibilities should be distributed, right from the conventional and non-conventional education and the vocational education. Vocational education is skilling the people power to walk new paths. That is what is more important and should come increasingly. If that becomes important, then the role of agricultural extension, Dr. Sadamate, I hope you are still here, the new extension policy, the education for extension, the teachers must be now able to look towards the new education policy, which also gives the new extension policy. So marrying, not only coming up with the best of the genomics analysis and gene editing and so on and so forth, but you must come up with the best of the talent to transfer, absorb that technology to the people whom it is meant for, scaling up. So a new education in terms of the whole change of the thinking process of agricultural extension education must be a very important part of your teaching ability, and you must be able to see that the science, technology, and innovation, which are your strengths, must be linked along the entire value chain. And this concept of your teaching, each one of you who are teaching, must be reminded that our chairman, that our member of the planning commission usually talks about, as the other day he also talked about, Mr. Ramesh Chand, saying that India is enigmatic. Today we hear Madam Sita Raman just saying, the Prime Minister mentioning India is in among the fifth top world economies. And on the other hand, my dear teachers, you have to also bring into bearing upon the fellow students and all the people who are concerned with making India better or making India Atmanirbhar, must be also able to tell that there is a lot more to be done. You may be fifth in the economy, but what is enigmatic? What is India's enigma? I will urge all teachers to please tell your students, it is the enigmatic situation in India, because today almost 1/4, almost half of the stunted and hungry children, wasted children of the world are our Indian children. How can those children will go to primary school? How will their mental development, that is epigenetic fixation of dwarfism of mind? Those who understand genetics will appreciate this thing. The teachers must be able to put across, all teachers, all students, that mind you, that if you don't take care of the enigmatic situation of India, so the youth, the women, as they grow along, they have to make it sure it is not only science, it is much more than science. It is the human touch. It is the humanity that you have to assign to science so that it humanizes you to look at production, distribution, value addition, right markets, right pricing, right support, and right energy consumption, and your sustainability, which has to really, your unevenness. I mean, you look at the farmer, non-farmer inequity is 1:4. We are having unequal India, terribly unequal India. So therefore, while we are fifth in the today the economy, our students must be told, my dear students, teachers must be able to convey this message strongly to them that we cannot just be simply accumulating new knowledge, new facts, without turning it into a delivery of facts which will make a difference at the ground level. Must realize the ground level outcome. There is a big gap between the ground level outcome and what comes out from the laboratory. I think those gaps between the ground level outcome, where the poverty continues to exist, where the inequity continues to exist, where hunger continues to exist, India is still behind in keeping track of the Agenda 2030 and so on and so forth. You please teachers, bring these facts in front of your students and make them charged. Charge them. Your responsibility is to charge your students so that they are able to perform differently, to come up with a different India, a new India based on something which will be built back better. The building back better today is so very important. The education has to be so very different today because you have to take care of the 3 C's. We are having COVID continuing. What will happen to agriculture? How to manage agriculture under COVID, education, mentoring, and really keep your standards high. This is one thing. Your climate change, always you are experiencing that how badly it is impacting all over the country in so many different ways. And thirdly, you see the world is today, you always hear what China is doing, what is happening in the Middle East and so on and so forth, the conflict. So these 3 C's have to be also been kept in mind. So when you develop the science, please keep this in mind, these 3 C's, to serve the people, to serve the prosperity, to serve the planet, to serve the pollution, to remove the pollution. And these are the things which you have to be really contemporary. The teachers have to be contemporary and ahead, forward-looking. The new science, forward-looking science must be able to break the enigma that India is facing today. And so enigmatic India, which has so many inequalities, can be solved only by bringing the best of science at the ground which is needed the most. So marry the science of discovery with the science of delivery at the ground level, and your job is not only to just give a lesson and only finish your job. No, your job is to see that how every individual in the country is served by education, is bitly enlightened by education to perform differently so that you are able to build new India. Ladies and gentlemen, I think at this anniversary of this management and development that I am saying, I wish to only tell you that the 3 coincidences of which Dr. A.K. Singh mentioned, our Radha Krishnanji was the Vice Chancellor of Banaras Hindu University. As a matter of fact, I have read everything that he had said about education and so on and so forth. He was, as a matter of fact, he has always been in our mind, and Ashok and Himanshu were also students there. We are also at IRI together, and I am sure we bring on this Teachers' Day Radhakrishnan ji together. So, my dear friends, here is a trinity of combinations: the teacher, the taught, and the guru of gurus, all have to be there. And mind you, teachers, mind you, dear teachers, you should be. Nothing is more pleasing, nothing is of much more greater pride to you than your students. To me, my students are my pride, nothing else. If my students do well, I feel so happy. And this is where, when I look around all over the world, as a matter of fact, wherever I find our students doing well, it's not my own personal students. It is our students from our India and the soil and the place that we all belong to. When they do well, our pride goes up. So with these words, I wish you again a very happy Teachers' Day, and we build back India with a new genuity of the best of science to serve this society. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing those amazing thoughts. I bow to that wonderful, insightful, and inspirational talk, and I wish your words last forever. Thank you again, sir, for the content and the context. Sir, it's always a pleasure to listen to you. And the more we listen to you, yet more we want to listen from you. And sir, we have no regret waiting for this scintillating talk. Thank you very much. And I feel privileged to now request Honorable Chairman for his expert remarks, who himself has been an excellent teacher, as Professor R.B. Singh sir mentioned, and I take all pride in saying my own teacher. So sir, please.
Thank you very much, Kapila. Honorable Professor R.B. Singh, Speaker of the Day, and as Dr. A.K. Singh ji said, Gurus of the Guru today. Our teachers, Professor Burma, Dr. Vashal, Dr. Sadamte, Dr. Gaur, many others. Please excuse me, I cannot take all the names. Director IRI, Dr. A.K. Singh, some of the Vice Chancellors I could notice have also joined us today. Directors of other ICR institutes, all the esteemed teachers and colleagues from IRI and nearby institutes, our students, ladies and gentlemen. Today is really a very auspicious day, and it becomes more auspicious when you listen from none other than Professor R.B. Singh. Dr. A.K. Singh sir, you talked about three of us having some connection to Banaras Hindu University. Let me tell you, I am the most fortunate one out of all these three, because I had the fortune of being a student actually. I didn't have any accountability there. I had only pleasure of learning from the great university there. My salute to all our gurus, and wish each and every one of you a very happy Teachers' Day. Friends, education is moving from darkness to light. That's what they say. It is moving from darkness to light. Tamashoma Jyotir Gamaya. Tamashoma Jyotir Gamaya. It is the key to development. It is the backbone of civilization and culture. And friends, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Without education, our life remains incomplete. It is not that today we have understood it. People understood it since the Vedas. And they said that Vidya Dadati Binayam, Vinayat Yati Patratam, Patratat Dhanamapnoti, Dhanat Dharma Tata Sukham. Everything starts with Vidya. Your behavior, your treasures, your life, everything starts with Vidya. And what Professor Singh said, what a treasure of knowledge it is. It's a unique treasure. In Sanskrit, sir, there is a sloka. It says, He Bharati Kingtava Bhandara Drishyate, Bhayoto Vriddhi Mayati, Chaya Mayati Sanchat. This is such a treasure of knowledge. If you go on accumulating it, if you do not distribute, it will simply erode. But if you start distributing it, then it will increase. So this is a unique, it is not a bank account that your money, if you just go on using, then it is going to be less and less. It is the other way true. Friends, all our students actually, you know, this education, the word etymologically means drawing out. And Vivekananda used to say that education is the endeavor to develop our latent talents, the manifestation of perfection in human being. That's what the education is. And friends, education is a continuous process. It is really a continuous process. It is not purely a matter of literacy or our qualification that BSc, MSc or PhD. If you are graduated yesterday and stop learning today, you become uneducated tomorrow. So do not forget, do not have this idea that I have completed my PhD and my education is complete. No, you might have done very good in your PhD or MSc or BSc, but then if you stop learning, then as I said, tomorrow you are going to be uneducated. This is such a continuous process. You have to cherish it. You have to nurture it. You have to prepare for it. You have to read and learn almost every day. Otherwise, you are going to be uneducated. And you also know that our modern economists have calculated that an investment in education pays the best interest out of all other investments. And therefore, very clearly, people from every walk of life, globally, they want their children to be the best educated. They invest first in education. And child education is the first priority of all societies across the globe, not only in India, across the globe. And for a perfect and proper education, you need a guru. And today is that day. Today is Teacher's Day. And as in Sanskrit, there is another slok that Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Miletang Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama. And Dr. A.K. Singh said the other parts of this one. Friends, we are extremely honored that we have the worthy gurus with us today of different generations. My gurus are here. And similarly, what Kapila said, so your gurus are also here. So I do not know how many generations of gurus are sitting today, maybe 3 generations, 4 generations, but my salute to each and every generation of the gurus. And my congratulations and compliments and best wishes to all the generations of students, including me. So you all are students, and at the same time, we are also teachers on the other role of ours. Fortunately, IRI, and we are really proud of IRI. We are proud that IRI has been the most prominent Gurukul. And I repeat, most prominent Gurukul in agricultural arena, not only of the country, but also of the world. We are proud of it. And we are really fortunate that today we have all assembled to celebrate a day in the name of Gurus and also in the name of Gurukul, our Gurukul, that is IARI, Indian Agriculture Research Institute or PUSA Institute. And all of you know that the tradition is continuing today and will certainly continue in future, maybe even better with vigorosity and so on. Friends, particularly my students, let us remember, as I said in the beginning, that the education is the backbone of civilization and culture. And you know what is the culture of India since the beginning or the dawn of civilization? The culture is of simple living and high thinking. Indians have adopted this culture, simple living, but our thinking has been always high. And that high thinking has always come from our gurus. Let this culture flourish. Let this culture of simple living and high thinking flourish. Let us work on the issues what our honorable speaker talked about today. I'm not repeating those. You have all heard those. Whether it is 3 C's, COVID, conflict and climate change, whether it is the issue of nutritional security, whether it is the issue of malnutrition and all others. But let me tell you that the solution will come from science. Solution will come from education. And of course, the solution will come from the long culture which we all cherish. Let us internalize all those suggestions, what Professor Singh said, in our teaching as well as learning processes. Not only in our teaching processes alone, let us also internalize those in the learning processes, so that teachers as well as students all are equally accountable, equally responsible to take this country forward. I thank our honorable speaker, other honorable guests, the organizers in particular, and all of you once again. I wish best wishes on this auspicious occasion of Teachers' Day. I must thank Dr. A.K. Singh sir and all other organizations, Dr. Sindhu, and my colleagues, heads of the divisions of IRI, professors, scientists, technical staff, supporting staff, administrative staff, and more importantly, the students. I think today's event is more for you, probably a little less for the teachers, because as Professor Singh said, the teachers live in the students. If students are happy, teachers are happy. Had there been no Arjuna, probably people would not have known who was Dronacharya. Dronacharya was recognized because he could produce Arjuna. You can imagine there is no Arjuna produced. If there is no Dr. A.K. Singh produced, probably his teachers also will not be so famous. So that this day is important for all teachers as well as students. Professor A.K. Singh sir, thank you very much for giving me this excellent opportunity and honor. Let me tell you, I never dreamt of chairing a session where Professor R.B. Singh will be speaking actually. But today you have given me that opportunity, and I am really, indeed, I am honored. I am honored. Thank you very much. And once again, I wish each and every one of you a very, very happy Teachers' Day. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for those expert remarks, and thank you for bringing out that unique kind of a perspective on a very auspicious day like this. Anyone, sir, anyone can become a good teacher and a good human being if be able to emulate only a part of your thinking and philosophy. Thank you so much, sir. And now we are going to move on, and I request Dr. Vinod sir, Honorable President, Genetics Club, IRI, to propose vote of thanks as the successful conclusion of the program. So please.
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks on this important occasion. This is the day when we gratefully remember and pay our tribute to the great educationist, philosopher, and teacher, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. This day also provides us an opportunity to pay respect to our teachers. Teachers have an important role in nation building. I express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor R.B. Singh, former director IRI and an outstanding teacher himself, for readily agreeing to be the chief guest and speaker of today's function at the last moment. Sir, we are grateful to you for your enlightening words. You rightly said, sir, tallness of a nation is measured by the tallness of its teachers. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Himanshu Pathak, Secretary here and DG ICR, for graciously consenting to chair today's event and also for giving his valuable remarks. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Dr. A.K. Singh, Director IRI, for his generous guidance and support in organizing this function. A special word of thanks to Dean and Joint Director Education, Dr. S.S. Sindhu, and the former Dean, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, for their wholehearted support and inspiring guidance to make this event a success. I would like to record my deep appreciations to Dr. K. Manjaya, Associate Dean, and to all those whose untiring efforts have made this event possible. I profusely thank Dr. R.R. Burman for online management and Dr. Kapila Shekhawat for comparing the program. My special thanks to Dr. Gyan Prakash and other members of the Genetics Club for the hard work put by them. I also thank staff from PG School, E&P section and AKM unit for making all the arrangements. My thanks also go out to all the dignitaries, Dr. V.V. Sadante, Dr. S.K. Wassel, Dr. H.S. Gore, Dr. I.M. Mishra, Dr. Malvika Dadlani, Joint Directors, Dr. Vishwanathan, Dr. B.S. Tomar, Directors of Sister Institutes, all heads and professors, faculty members and students for being present on this occasion. Once again, I would like to thank each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And with that, we are signing off for now. Thank you all for your kind presence. Shubh Din. Namaskar.